So this camera cannot photograph anything that we can normally see. Not the color, not the light, no shadows, nothing. This is actually an IR modified Nikon D850. And I rented it from a local store to just come out and see what it's like to shoot infrared. And boy, was I surprised. Here we go.
So let me explain what's happening here because it sounds more complicated than it actually is. In a normal photograph, they would be green, but in infrared, they go almost white. That's what the camera's doing. Any camera sensor, the one in your phone, the one in your DSLR, can actually detect infrared light. Light that just sits past the red end of what we can see, starting at around 700 nanometers. You can't see it, but the sensor can. But the manufacturer puts a filter in front of that sensor that blocks it because infrared messes up with the colors in your regular photography. So what a conversion does is it takes out that filter and puts one in that is close to the opposite. It blocks visible light but lets infrared light through. This D850 was converted to 720 nanometers. That's the standard conversion, and that's the one I'll tell you to start with. One thing a good conversion shop does that matters more than most people realize is that they recalibrate the focus. Infrared light focuses at a slightly different point than visible light, and without that recalibration, your images actually come back soft. Not catastrophically soft, but enough to notice in post. With that calibration, autofocus works exactly like it always had, and that's the difference between a converted camera and a usable one, or one that just sits in a drawer. So if you rent one to test it out, this is what I would do. Make sure you're renting from a shop that did a full conversion, not just a filter swap. The focus recalibration is really what you're paying for.
So I left the state park and I'm a few miles down the road at a local preserve that's close to where I was. And one of the things you want to keep in mind when you're shooting infrared photography is the time of day. So that's actually crucial. So as photographers, we're always trained, shoot in the morning, shoot at sunset, never shoot in the middle of the day. But you have to unlearn all of that for infrared photography. You actually want to be out here on a day like today where there's not a single cloud in the sky and there's super harsh afternoon sun. That's when you're going to get your best shots with infrared photography.
Green leaves reflects infrared hard. The more direct sun hitting those leaves, the brighter they are in your image. They're almost white, almost glowing. And water and sky absorb infrared instead of reflecting it, so they go dark, really dark. That contrast, the bright leaves against a dark sky, is a whole new look. And it peaks when the sun is hammering straight down on everything.
So camera settings is pretty simple. It's basically what you would normally use to shoot on a nice, bright, sunny day. So ISO 100, f8 to like f11, maybe 1/400, maybe 1/500, and that's basically it. One of the things that's great about using a converted infrared camera is you can actually see everything through the screen on the back of the camera if you're using a DSLR, or you can see it through your camera if you're using a mirrorless. And that's really nice because you could actually get a feel for what the shot is ahead of time. A lot of times when you use a filter on the front of a camera, it blocks almost all visible light and it makes it impossible to actually see what you're shooting. Another thing to remember too is because you're shooting out in the broad sunlight like this, you don't need to bring a tripod. So you can literally just walk around and shoot without a tripod, which is actually kind of refreshing. I did bring a tripod today because I'm always shooting video and I like to have those static still shots, but you necessarily don't need a tripod to shoot infrared outside. So white balance is actually pretty important. I would tell everybody just to shoot in RAW, and then you can fix it in post afterwards. If you are going to shoot in JPEG, I would try to meter your white balance off of something green, set your camera up for that, and then, then shoot, have some fun.
So one thing you want to do in Lightroom is use the temperature slider first. Just drag it down until the red cast disappears. So one more thing on editing, infrared actually punishes you if you push it too hard. So the effect is already dramatic and your job is to mostly stay out of the way. So a small contrast bump, maybe a little bit of clarity, definitely keep your saturation lower, and let the tonal separation carry the image and the composition, and it will. Alright, so let's talk about the money aspect of all this. If you never shot infrared, this is where I would start. Just try it. See if the look fits your work before you spend any money on something permanent. Second, convert your own camera. You send your body to a conversion shop. Nikon DSLRs like this one start around $250. But there's a trade-off. Once it's converted, the body is infrared only and you can't easily go back. So this only makes sense if you got a second body that you can spare. I wouldn't convert my GFX, but if I got an older DSLR sitting in a bag right now, that makes sense to me. So third is really simple, and that's buy used, buy already converted. There are several conversion services out there that actually sell them, and they're anywhere from $400 to $800 depending on the body. Less risk than converting your own because you're not giving up the camera you're currently using, and you know exactly what filter's in it. So this is the last way, and this is the way most people do it, and that's with an external filter. So you get like a Hoya R72, $50 to $150. And here's what I'll tell you honestly about that. It cuts almost all the light hitting your sensor. You need a tripod for every frame. You lose autofocus. You can barely see through the viewfinder. And for landscape work, it gets frustrating really fast. It's fine if you want that infrared look, but for practical shooting, it's not a really good tool. So my suggestion is to rent first, try it out, and then make a decision from there. So here's what I want to tell you. Infrared isn't for every location or every frame. It has a look, and that look is specific. But it will change how you read a landscape. You stop chasing light and start studying what's actually in front of you.
Bugs, bugs, bugs. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. And if you're into infrared photography, drop me a line. I'd like to see how you're doing it. And we're going to talk to you later before we get eaten alive. Bye.